Due to the recent tragedy at Stoneman Douglas High School, the media and the people have been fixated on one simple question. Who do we blame? Guns? Lack of guns? Video games? Each other? Ourselves? Nah, I'm just kidding. You couldn't possibly be the problem. Has to be someone else. However, using the same sources cited by the White House to determine any form of evidence about the link between the exposure to violent video games and killing, and using the testimonies of crazed lunatic mass murderers, I believe that I have discovered the pinnacle cause of mass shootings. The pinnacle cause is books and education. You see, many people fail to connect the simple link between education and mass murder. Going back to 1961, the University Texas Tower shooting, this was around 10 years before the first ever video game surfaced. However, much like these other shooters, he was studying architectural engineering at university. It's clear that, like other school shooters, his education taught him to kill. His exposure to these training manuals for murderers warped his precious mind and made him unaccountable for his actions. Eric Harris was another sad case, in which he was born to a nice family, the son of a US Air Force pilot. However, Eric's life fell apart the day that he discovered books and learned about a man named Adolf Hitler. He also learned about the Oklahoma City bombing, the Waco siege, and Vietnam War, and through being exposed to history, he grew obsessed with the idea of leaving an everlasting historical impression on the world with this kind of violence. Of course, those who learn about history are doomed to repeat it. Most recently, Nicholas Cruz, the Stoneman Douglas killer, has come out as to saying that he was motivated by Nazis, the very same ideals passed down from generation to generation in history classrooms. Howard Unruh, the Death Walker, also known to attend school in Woodrow, where he most likely learned about history and read books. Howard committed his act of mass homicide in 1949. Like the University Texas Tower shooting, the perpetrator could not have come into contact with electronic video games, for they had not been invented. However, books were commonplace. By now, most of you are connecting the dots. What is the common factor between those two and the shooters of today? It's obvious. Access to books and history. Thanks to the internet, we can now read more books and take in more history and information than ever before, and as a result there are way more mass shootings. Unlike with video games, we can actually pinpoint a book as the sole cause of a shooting. Mark David Chapman, the man who killed John Lennon in cold blood, claimed that his statement was the book Catcher in the Rye. This cements the idea that books are far more likely to drive someone to kill than anything else on this planet. The same game in this big field of rye and all. Thousands of little kids. And nobody's around. Nobody big, I mean. Except me. And I'm standing on the edge of some crazy cliff. What I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. I mean, if they're running and they don't look where they're going, I have to come out from somewhere and catch them. That's all I do all day. I'd just be the catcher in the rye and all. This, when taken out of context and given a new context, clearly states that I have to kill to soothe my violent tendencies brought on by these books. Some of these people have been reading books for a worrying 6 hours a day or more. Books only have one purpose: to educate and to entertain. However, book publishers need to be more socially and morally aware. They must consider the kind of experience that they're unleashing onto the helpless masses, especially any book that describes killers. Clearly, if you read a murder in detail, this is taken in your brain as a how-to guide that improves your skills as a murderer. People can learn advanced killing techniques through the works of authors like Agatha Christie and Arthur Conan Doyle. Militaries all over the world have been using books to train their soldiers for decades. Everyone from young people learning to drive to salesmen trying to get on people's good side use books. If a possible mass shooter wants to learn how to be a better psychopath, then we shouldn't be handing him a how-to guide on being a psychopath. Apparently, books are considered freedom of speech by the Supreme Court, but I hope they and publishers understand the harm and damage that they have caused over the past 1,000 years with the potential harm that these books are creating.
Would you like them here or there? I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am.